Hello everyone, it's me Flygon, and I'm here today with the last part of Pokemon Emerald. In the previous episode we took on the Elite Four and the Champion Wallace, and we ended up victorious, of course. Now with our national decks and many other things, the world is open to us, but I think that it would take far too long for us to actually complete the Pokédex and get all the symbols in the Battle Frontier. So this final part is just going to be pretty simple, and it's going to be shorter than most of the other parts that you've seen thus far. That's all there really is to it. So we're just going to head to the real final boss of the game. Or in my opinion anyway. Some of you may think of them as a bonus boss, but I feel as though they're the true final boss. Especially since Wallace's team was a bit weak sauce. I mean, it was still a cool fight, but still. Regardless, the true final boss is in Meteor Falls. And it's a short journey there, especially on foot. We're basically there already, after all. And into the cavern we go. This has always been a pretty nice cave. The music's still beautiful, as you can tell, because I love the music in this area. You will of course need Surf and Waterfall to get into the final boss area. And it's just up here where we got the Iron Tail TM, and there's a new cavern here. And if you were paying attention at all during this playthrough, you can probably guess who it is. So, as you can probably tell, Steven's team is quite strong, as you can see that they're in the high 70s. So what you'll need to do is, you'll need to take out his Skarmory very quickly, because it likes to set up. It has Toxic, it has Spikes as well? I don't know if it has anything else, but just take it out as quick as possible with a strong Electric or Fire move. Such as Weather Ball, boosted by a Sunny Day, of course. And the critical hit was a big help, because that was probably what helped us one-shot it. Next up is his Metagross, which is his ace and his highest level Pokemon. It's level 78, and it has access to Earthquake, Meteor Mash, Psychic, and other things as well. So you'll want to take that out quickly, and it also holds a Citrus Berry for it to restore some of its health after it drops below 50%. It has also got a very high defense stat, so special moves are probably good, but Earthquake is also pretty good for dealing with it. Meteor Mash is a fantastic move and I love it. It's also pretty rare. Only 3 species can learn it. As of Generation 7. Next up is his Aggron. It's very tanky and it's got some weird moves. I believe it's got Thunder, Solar Beam, and Dragon Claw as well as other things. So what better way to deal with his main tank than to deal with it with our own tank and whittle it down with statuses and other things. Will-O-Wisp will half its attack stat and do 1/8 of its health per turn. And off-screen we also picked up the Leftovers, which are a fantastic item for any tank. We also picked up Future Sight, which does damage 2 turns after its use, so it's good for banking up and then like dealing lots of damage in a single burst. Yeah, there's Thunder. It's just a really weird move to have on Aggron. Like, it's cool that I can get it in Surf as well as other things, but it's just so strange and out of place because it's kind of not that good for it, because it's got such a bad attack stat. Never mind that we have Surf on our Aggron, we barely use it, and we kind of need Surf to get around because this is Hoenn after all. And Solar Beam as well, like what is this special Aggron? Since Dragon type is a special type as well. Leftovers are really good on Dusclops, I feel. His Credilli is also a tank, but it's more special oriented than physical, I believe. But it's got better health restoration features than Aggron does. It's got Ancient Power, which has a chance to raise all of its stats, and it also has Ingrain and Stockpile? Maybe? Or maybe it's Giga Drain, I don't really know. Ingrain will keep it from being forcibly switched out, or just switched out in general, I think, whilst also regenerating a little bit of its health each turn. Basically, it sticks it in place and is difficult to deal with. Except it's not really difficult to deal with because Sludge Bomb is a pretty strong move, especially with its Gimp defenses. Next up is his Claydol, which is just tanky overall. All of his mons are tanky, actually. But I wonder if it's tanky enough to survive a Swords Dance boosted Hyper Beam. Whilst Earthquake is a strong move, it's not very good in Claydol's hands. I mean, sure, it's like got the same type attack bonus boost, but its attack stat and its special attack stat aren't that good. Credilli? Claydol is better suited to a support role. And Hyper Beam is just going to deal with it, as you could probably expect at this point in the series. We've all heard the song and dance, Hyper Beam will just destroy everything. And everyone. Now he's down to his last one, which would be Armaldo. Armaldo is interesting. I always liked Credilli better, but Armaldo's okay, I guess. And of course, here's where Iron Tail starts really living up to its name that it would gain for future generations. Iron Tail missing constantly and just not being good. Yep, that happened. and Pixel fainted, and that's really annoying because I wanted to be cool and have each member of the team, like, KO one member of this team. So now we're going to have to look decidedly uncool for a few moments. It really likes to spam Ancient Power, but not as much as Water Pulse, as you can tell, haha. I was surprised that Slash didn't KO the Flygon there. Now let's just settle for a more reliable move that isn't Iron Tail, such as Rollout, because Rollout is just the pinnacle of reliability, isn't it? It's going to start doing Water Pulses again, but that's not going to help it because we're on the second hit of Rollout, and that is probably going to knock it out at this rate. And so it did. And that was it. That was the true final boss, in my eyes anyway. And that was it. Nothing quite like an accidental repeat of the dialogue that we already just read, huh? Well, that was it. We've exhausted most of the content that I can be bothered doing. Or, well, all of the content that I could be bothered doing. Now, don't get me wrong, I like the Battle Frontier, but it's kind of a pain in the bum to do. And catching them all is also a pain in the bum to do. So, all in all, this is the last episode, as I mentioned earlier. The effect of the Repel wore off, and thank goodness for that, because it would be a little awkward to just bump into like another 50 Golbats or Soul Rocks in the Meteor Falls, of course. We're just having a peaceful little walk back to Little Root Town. And then I figured, why not get these items that we totally forgot to get, like back when they were actually relevant and useful? I mean, it would be nice, wouldn't it? So unfortunately, Coctimus is going to have to get cut once more. Because cut is just such an amazing move, don't you think? May as well just heal up everyone else, just for that nice sense of completion. And there's, you know, not really the Petalburg Woods without bumping into some bug type that's not going to do anything to you. But overall, I really enjoyed doing this series. It was the first one that I've ever properly seen through to the end. Well, I mean, there was Advance Wars 2, and I saw that through to the end too, but I started this one first. And I enjoyed this one more, because whilst I really liked the Advance Wars 2 playthrough, there was just something more familiar about this one that I really enjoyed. I would like to continue doing these Let's Plays, or playthroughs, or whatever the heck you'd like to call them. And that is all there really is to it. But overall, I feel like this has helped me like become better at being more consistent with uploads, even though this wasn't really a consistent playthrough at all. But that's besides the point. It was fun editing some of the parts where there was more editing to go through, and it was... Like I mentioned this before, there were laughter, there was laughter, there was tears, there wasn't really any tears. Well, there was some annoyance when some of the audio just started like bugged out and there was no dubbing over some parts, or commentary, or whatever the heck you'd like to call it. And here is the city where it all began, except not really, because this city was kind of irrelevant for most of the game until we came back to get Surf and the 5th badge. Otherwise known as getting the badge after the damn 4th badge. What a timeless classic that evolved into. However, I feel as though this was the most irrelevant town because there was pretty much no point to this town. And now we're back to where the journey began, Littleroot Town. That does summarize the latter parts of these playthrough, just attacking. And May has nothing to say as per the usual. But that's okay, because they were still a good rival, except for not fully evolving their starter. That's not a very good thing for rivals to do. But overall, this game is a magical game, and it will... I think it'll go down for one of my favourites of all time, rather. Favorites of all time. And that is it. There's a GameCube, because you just gotta shill yourself out just a tiny bit. The favourite region, such a diverse and fine locale. But alas, all things must go to an end. This is Zonkt Flygon, and please have a nice day.